that whether it's following all the rules or not. So technical writing, I would say it's a very structured writing. So we can actually use kind of equation type thing, and we can actually in the end verify whether our solution was right or wrong. So I would request to download this paper, and later I will explain what to do with it. Sorry, in the chat I cannot upload the PDF. And actually, it's open access paper, so you can download. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Sorry, we can see your screen.
All right. Mushfiqat, just let me know, when to start.
Yes, sir, of course. Okay, so since it's already 8:30, we are going to start the session. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Mushfirat bint Mahfouz from MP22 and I'm the treasurer of ASME IUT Student Section. The American Society of Mechanical Engineers, ASME, is an American professional association that, in its own words, promotes the art, science, and practice of multidisciplinary engineering and allied sciences around the globe via continuing education, training, and professional development, codes and standards, research conferences and publications, government relations, and other forms of outreach. ASM is thus an engineering society, a standards organization, a research and development organization, an advocacy organization, a provider of training and education, and a nonprofit organization. Founded as an engineering society focused on mechanical engineering in North America, ASME today is a multidisciplinary and global. So this is our session with our own Dr. Abu Shaid Sujon, sir. Assalamu alaikum, sir. I welcome you to our session.
Wa alaikum assalam. And thank you very much for inviting me into this session.
Yes, sir. Sir, our co-host is Fariha Rahman, and she would like to introduce a few words with us. Fariha?
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Fariha Rahman from Mechanical and Production Engineering, batch 23. And good evening everyone, and very warm welcome to everyone. It is our pleasure to have you with us in today's session, From Curiosity to Discovery, How to Start Your Research Journey. We hope this session will encourage you to look beyond the classroom, explore your areas of curiosity, and take your first steps towards this meaningful research. We are truly honored to have with us Dr. Muhammad Abu Shaid Sujon, Assistant Professor in the Department of Mechanical and Production Engineering at Islamic University of Technology. To give a brief introduction about Sujon, sir, He earned his PhD from the Technical University of Denmark in 2024, following his MSc in Mechanical and Production Engineering from IUT in 2020 and his BSc in Mechanical and Chemical Engineering from IUT in 2015. His academic and research journey has taken him through collaborations with leading organizations, as well as research experience at the University of Massachusetts. His research focuses on advanced composite mechanics, thermoplastic processing, acoustic property optimization, and sustainable materials. Beyond his research contributions through numerous publications and technical works, he is also actively involved in teaching and supervising student research projects at IUT. With such a diverse journey from being an IUT student to becoming an accomplished researcher and educator, we believe Dr. Sujon is the perfect person to guide us on how curiosity can be transformed into meaningful research and discovery. So, without further ado, I would like to warmly welcome Dr. Mohammad Abu Shaid Sujon and invite him to take the floor.
Thank you very much, Faria, for a brief introduction about me. And I'm very much looking forward to share my thoughts and experience that I have gathered over almost a decade of my professional journey with you guys. To begin with, when ASME people reached out with me that, sir, would you like to have a session on this topics, curiosity to discovery, how a student can start their research journey? I think as an IUTN student, you all know how busy the last week is. But still, I am also personally very, very busy this week with a lot of lab quizzes. Then fourth year, I am taking two courses, one for fourth year and first year. But still, I thought, okay, it's a great opportunity to share my thoughts since the students are, they want to learn about research. Let's spare some time and prepare some slides to share my experience. So I would like to thank all the participants for joining today's sessions. I hope it will be insightful for many of you. I could see many first year students, 24 batch, and also second year students, they are here. And it proves that they have a lot of curiosity about research, and I hope they will gather a lot of useful information about from this today's session. So,
Sir, I would like to add that there are also graduates from our own IoT. So we're really grateful for your insights on research.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Yes, I'm also a graduate from IIT. So before starting, I think I have taken classes of many of you, but probably those who don't know me about a little bit about myself. My name is Abu Shaid Sujon. I am from Rajshahi. There I was born and raised. I finished my school and both college from Rajshahi. My college was Nigobind Degree College. And after college, I get admitted in this IUT, this Red Haven in Mechanical Engineering Department. At that time, it was MCE, Mechanical and Chemical Engineering Department. And I also finished my MSc from here. Although my BSc is given the starting date, although the MSc is given the finish date. So don't confused about this one. And then I finished my PhD from TTU, Technical University of Denmark. And to give you a little bit of my professional journey, I graduated from Mechanical Engineering Department back in 2015. And then I joined as a lecturer in Bangladesh Army University of Engineering and Technology. I graduated in December and joined in January 2016. I worked there for a while. Then I joined another Army University, Bangladesh Army University of Science and Technology. And finally, in 2017, I joined as a lecturer in IIT. And till then, I am still working. Then after joining IIT, I started my master's program here in IIT again. In the meantime, actually, I started my master's in Ruet, since you know that I'm from Rajshahi. So in the weekend, I used to go to Rajshahi. So I started one master's program in Ruet, but I didn't completed that one. Once I joined, then actually I completed my master's from IUT. And in January 2021, I started my PhD in Technical University of Denmark. And around 3 years, 4 months, I completed my PhD from GTU. My PhD was a industrial PhD. It was funded by three hearing aid industry: Demand, WS Audiology, and GN Resound. Maybe at some other point I can discuss a little more about it. And right after finishing my PhD, I got a job in a pharmaceutical company as a mechanical design engineer, although it was very little thing to do with my PhD as a material scientist. But from my undergrad, I had a passion about CAD designing, so I took that passion into a profession even after finishing a PhD. So you never know which skill will be helpful for you in which stage of your life. So that's a takeaway from here. And then I decided, okay, I think I need to contribute towards my country. So I decided to come back after quitting my job from Novo Nordisk. Those who don't know, Novo Nordisk is a pharmaceutical company. They are the first manufacturer of insulin. This is the first company who manufactured the insulin, and I think it's a leading company in this area. So now let's get into today's topics. So what do you think? What do you need to start a research? Many of us has a wrong idea that you need to have a genius to start your research, which is completely wrong. What I think what you need to start your research is your curiosity. Your curiosity could come from many places. I'll be discussing this one later. And then you need some skills and you need a method, okay? You need a method where a set of skills you will apply, and then basically it will turn into a paper. So, and those skills, no one born with those skills, right? We need to learn it. So research is also, you can also over the time, if you practice, if you gather the required skill, you can also publish papers. But many of us, what we lack, that we thought too much and act very less. So you thought maybe, okay, so research, I'm in just first year, it's not the right time to start my research. When I will be in my third year, I will think about it. And you finish your third year, you are in your fourth year, you are still figuring out. So I would say the right time is today, not tomorrow. So the earlier you start, you will get beginner's advantage in this field. Okay. So you need to start maybe tonight. Now, actually, what I think many of us has many myths about research. For example, many of us may think that research is all about a fancy lab where a scientist is doing their research, and suddenly he's mixing, let's say, one chemicals with the other one, and then suddenly he has a breakthrough or she has a breakthrough and a eureka moment. But it's not like this. It's basically it's a curious mind who actually ask very small questions and try to answer that questions or try to gather the answer of that questions through the literatures. And after spending hours of reading others' literatures, what they have done, suddenly he find out that answers. So it's not just a sudden moment like eureka moment that happens instantly or by mistake. And also we have a myth about that you must invent something completely new to be a researcher or to be a scientist, which is completely wrong. It's not about inventing completely new thing. The science and the research domain is so vast. You could think about the ocean. Is it possible for us to be expert in all domain? It's not possible. Not even I'm a mechanical engineer, but if you ask me about thermal engineering, heat transfer, I'm very weak in that field. Like as an undergrad student, you study many courses, right? Then in the masters, you narrow down the courses from 163 credit. Then the masters is basically just 36 credit. Here, 18 credit is theory and 18 credit is thesis. 36. Yeah, so you can see that narrow down of domains from bachelor's to master's. And now going towards the PhD, so you will be just focusing on a very narrow topics. So you could understand it's not possible for anyone to be masters in many different topics. So what you have to do, you have to focus on a very narrow area where you will get expert, with the time you'll get experience and you will be very good on that particular field. So it's very normal that a student might not have interest in all different field, all different domain, and that's normal. Okay. And but you have to find out your passions, where you are about. I'll be talking about that one later on. And so it's not about inventing completely new. It's about, you can say, to build a house, we need brick. And if you're thinking about building a house overnight, is it possible? It's not possible, right? So, but if you keep adding one brick every day, maybe in a year you will have a room. Your one of the room of the house might be completed, right? So what you have to do, you have to keep doing. You have to keep doing. You have to keep doing or adding the brick every day. That's very important. And another myth is that many of us, we think that you need a fancy lab and or huge funding. So it's not like this. The paper that I have shared with you, it's a outcome of my master's research from IUT. So I haven't done, I have many other papers, but I have shared this particular paper for a reason, because this work has been done right here from IUT with all the resources that we have in IUT. I have used this one and then published this paper. And so yes, during that time when I was doing my master's in IoT, still we have fewer resources than we have today. So it's proven that actually you don't need actually fancy lab or huge funding. Yes, sometimes it creates problems or hinders, but the more important thing is that you have a very good intentions, you have a willpower, you have a laptop, you have a paper, and this is very, very important, a good mentor. You can say this good mentor. I am highlighting this one, that so you really need a good mentor here. Okay, because your mentor can share a lot of the things that it's not possible for you to know because you don't have that experience. And then many of us, we thought that results always work on first try. That means whatever experiment you are doing, you are actually you will get good results all the time. But this is very wrong. Actually, in research, you fail, you learn from your failure, and you generate data. No data is basically go in wastage. So you learn. Maybe if it's a failed experiment, but now you have one more set of data that tells you don't go in that directions. So now About the research journey, actually, I I actually tried to I divided this in 6 steps. At first, about your curiosity, but basically this is basically not completely interconnected. You can start from anywhere many of the times. So it's not basically you have to be curious or then you need to. It's not basically you need to follow the loops. You can go back and forth, no problem. So get curious. Maybe since I'll be explaining all these things in more details in coming slides, just to know you, let you know, number one is get curious, then read widely. That means you really need to read a lot before writing a single line. Even in our Quran, the first verse of Quran, Ikra bismi rabbikal ladzi khalaq, right? So that word also start with read, right? That's also start with the word read. So you really need to read a lot of paper before you can start writing your own paper. That's really very important. Read. And then find the gap. That's also important. There are a lot of different types of paper, original research review paper and many others. But if you want to publish original research, then you really need to find a gap. Then collect the data, design the methods, and then you analyze sense out of your data, and then you share your findings. How? By writing, by presenting, and by publishing. Right? These are the 6 steps that we'll be basically talking about today. So number one, the first step is your curiosity, right? Start with a question that excites you. So, like no two brain think alike. I think you will agree with me. Maybe if I give you a similar topic to think, we have around 50 participants. All of us will think in different ways. That's normal. So that's why we have this diversity, we have these differentiations among our thought process and all those things. So you have to find your, curiosity topics that's or your comfort zone, you can say, which one you like, which research topics you really want to go deep. Okay. So, and this could comes from many different places. It could come from your courses. Let's say this semester I took a course, engineering materials, for the first year students. So topic. So you get an idea. I actually material science during my classes. So you have some idea. You have some other courses. Let's say for third year you have fluid mechanics. You have heat transfer. So from your theory courses, maybe you have some questions or curiosity. There was that assumptions. Whether it really work? Let's try to dig into it. Then you read more about it to get an idea or to get the answer of your curiosity. Then it could also come from your city, home, industry, or country that annoys you. For example, the rickshaw in the highway. It's a really annoying problem for many of us. It's a root cause for the traffic jam and also many accidents. So maybe you have some questions. Can we really solve it? What steps could we take to solve this issue? Or uh, maybe you attended a seminar where you heard something and you really want to you really have a question that was not answered during the presentation that you want to really further investigate. Your curiosity could come from that place as well. So the answer is basically you have to be curious to start your research. So the main takeaway from here that you have to be curious to start your research in the domain that you really like. And Now, step number two, read before you run an experiment. You really, I still remember that when I was doing my master's, although I have published a couple of conference paper during my bachelor's, the first paper I actually published when I was a master's student. So when I was actually writing this paper, the one that I have shared with you, I really read a lot of paper. At that time, actually, uh, you know, the facility was not that advanced, I would say, like the AI and all those things was not that much. So that I really had to spend a lot of time with Google Scholar. But now there are many advanced tools. So Google Scholar is your best friend. Here, actually, you can find out your research topic very easily. Just search with the keyword. And then also there is Scopus Web of Science. There you will get more quality papers. Might not be relevant for IUT or some other university, but in DTU, they have a university library and database. You will get all the paper from there. Then you always, let's say you want to do a research, you have a curiosity. So from where you will start? The best way to start is to start with a review paper. Try to find a review article on the topics that you are interested. And to find out more relevant paper, try to see the reference list. The paper that is now, let's say you find a paper, now on that paper you will find many reference lists. Read the title of those reference lists. Or you can do the similar thing from the connected papers. The paper that is more close to your research domain, put that paper link in the connected papers. And that connected papers will create a map how other papers is connected with your paper. In this way, you can actually narrow down your research, that means, or the relevant paper that you need to read before starting your research, before finding a research gap in the current literature. And then you need to Zotero and then Mendeley and all those things. And nowadays, AI search, that's also very, very helpful. Okay. I have tried many of the AI tools to finding out relevant research paper. They are pretty helpful. Now, actually, this is where to look. Now, let's say you have already found a very good paper. Now, what to do with it? Let's say you have narrowed down 50 papers. Are you going to read all the 50 papers after downloading it? It's going to be really tough for all of us, right? To read all 50 papers. So in this case, you don't really, or if you ask me, a experienced researcher, what they do, they don't read the whole papers. Okay. What they do, they actually at first, let's say I will actually look into the title and then the abstract. At first I will read the abstract and then I'll see the figures. If the abstract is basically interesting, I'll scroll down, I'll see the figures. And in scientific literature or in this domain, we always say that a figures is equivalent to 1,000 words. A figures, you can extract many informations, from the figures about your research article from a single figures. Very important to see the figures. And then if the figures is also interesting, then I'll go for the conclusions. If abstract is not interesting to me, because what abstract contents, I'm coming in a while, you will see, and then I will not go through the rest of the sections. Then let's say if all these things is a good match, then you see what they are missing, what did they not solve. That means what's missing in their paper. Can you really address or fill up that gap? So you don't just read paper, you also need to find out some relevant research gap from the paper. Otherwise, how you will push the boundaries. And don't do the same thing again and again. Let's say you read a paper, you should have a method to keep track what you have already read. So maybe you can write a one-line summary. Let me share you, like in my first year of PhD, it's basically reading a lot of papers, going through the literature, doing the literature review. So in my first year of PhD, I wrote a review paper. So at that time, I was actually finding out a way that, yes, I'm reading, but I'm missing out some of the information. I read somewhere, but I couldn't find it. So it happens a couple of times. Then I thought, because I was really maybe reading at least 20 papers every day, so you can assume how many in a month. So while I need some of the informations, I was missing. So then I thought, what should I do so that I can really find out the information that I already read? Then I actually, was looking online what the others do, again, doing research. Then I found one guy, his name was Dr. Andy. He was a PhD, and then he was a postdoc, and now actually he make content about to help other PhD students how they can, best utilize their PhD times, and many tips and tricks you can say. There he mentioned about one thing, whatever you are reading, you can dump all your things into a PowerPoint. At that time, actually, it feels silly to me, but later actually when I was practicing, it was very powerful, because in PowerPoint, it's very easy to take a screenshot of what you are reading. So what I started to do when I was reading the paper, for a single paper, I was using a single PowerPoint, and there I was taking a screenshot of the title, I was taking a screenshot of the important figures from the paper, and just dumping it on the PowerPoint. And so that, let's say if you are reading even 100 papers, it will be just 100 PowerPoints, 100 slides, I mean. So it was very handy. Actually, it really helped me to, write my first review paper in just 4 months. And that was really very, very helpful later on. And then basically, if the figures, abstract figures and conclusion is good, and you also find out the research gap, and you also took a basically one-line note or summary for each paper, then actually you came up with, some methods. What are the methods you need to follow? Sorry. Or what are the limitations of the other papers that you that will be addressing in your paper? Okay. So in short, the main takeaway from this, you can say, you need to read a lot before you start writing. First. Second, whatever you are reading, there must be a way to preserve it. If you are very sharp, then it could be in your head, but don't rely too much on that, because sometimes it also bluffs us. So it's better you have a system that you can go through, you can easily find out what you have, or you can find out the information from your system. Okay, so that's the main takeaway. Now, turn the gap into a sharp question. So this is a very nice thing, though basically a scientific paper is basically answering some of the question. So when you will be writing one, you also need to answer some of the questions. It's a kind of reverse engineering. So when you will be finding out that gap, you ask these questions like finer, I call it like this one, finer. At first, is it feasible? Can you actually do it with your time, skill, and resources? The first one is feasibility study. You don't have any interest in material science, but you want to solve a problem in material science domain. Do you really have that skill? Do you really have that time? Do you really have that resources? If it is not feasible for you, then forget about it. So at first, you try to see if it is feasible. Number second is finer. That means interesting. Is it interesting? Does it really excite you? Then is it novel that no one has done it before? Is it ethical? Is it ethical means, let's say, is it safe and responsible to pursue? That means ethical means, that means you really are planning to do such experiment which is not safe. So you cannot do it. And then if is it relevant? Is it relevant to the society? Is it relevant to the science? So if you have this answer, if you have this answer, then I think you have a good understanding about your research and or the research gap, then you move forward. Or let's say you have a curiosity about the 3D printing. Okay, so now you have a question that can I make 3D printed bone scaffold better? You have a questions. Okay, so basically, if you have this open-ended questions, there are many things. Which material you haven't mentioned? Better how? That means better is a vague word, right? It's a broad word. What betters? That means is it better in terms of strength? Is it better in terms of flexibility? Is it better in terms of blood circulations? Okay, if it is better, how you are gonna measure it? So if you need to answer these following questions. Okay, so now let's say if you actually rephrase these questions, so how does hydroxyapatite content affect the compressive strength of the melt extruded PCL scaffold? So this question actually answers many things. So this is your materials. Then this is PCL, its effect on the compressive. You are looking into just the compressive strength, not other property. So you are very specific. So you have one variable, one outcome, one method. Now you can actually move forward. Now, finding a mentor actually, it's very, very important finding a mentor. So, and that mentor need to be, basically, it need to be a beneficial for both of you. So a supervisor will be very happy to supervise you if you can add value towards the group. If you cannot add any value towards the group or towards his research, then basically it's a waste of both of your time and also your supervisor time. Okay, so it should be benefited from the both sides. So don't try to think that supervisor will always just will micromanage you. She will teach you everything. So you also need to take responsibility of the task that is given to you. Will make your life very easy because he or she will share the mistake that they have done, and you can avoid them. Okay. That's very, very important. Now, let's say you know how to read, you have a good mentor, but is it enough? It's not enough because you need to have a research toolkit, or you need to build a research toolkit that will help you to analyze the result that will be generating, and that will help you to visualize the data. So for example, you need skills for how you can read and digest a paper fast. You need to have a method. For writing, You need to have that skill so that you can explain what you have done in the experiment very clearly and honestly. Then for the data that you have generated, you need to visualize it. You can visualize using Excel, using Python, using MATLAB, many ways to visualize it. Now, for the methods, you need to be confident. If you are doing experimental works, then you have to be very confident in doing experiments. You should not have any ambiguity during doing an experiment, or you should be very, very confident in operating, let's say, a SEM, scanning electron microscope, or let's say, an injection molding machine. So you have to be very confident while using this one. I have seen many students, or let's say, they are afraid of big equipments when they see big equipments. So you also need to know, do you have this kind of phobia? You are afraid of standing in front of big equipment. If this is the case, so you need to know your limitations, and no one can, even your supervisor might he could not know if you are afraid of if you have this kind of problem. So you need to identify your weakness very well ahead. Because why I'm saying this, while I was doing my PhD, I was also working as a TA, and as a TA, I was taking a lab demonstrations of injection molding for a course. It's called microproduct design and manufacturing. So on that course, they actually manufacture a micro part, but although the part was micro, but the equipment was not micro. It was a big equipment, injection molding machine. So a group of master's students enter into the lab, and one student was really afraid of the equipment while it was operating. So she said, like, I'm not feeling comfortable in front of the equipment. Can I leave the class? So she was open. So I said, okay, it's fine. You can leave. So you actually really need to leave. Maybe you are not one of them, but maybe you have some phobia in some other things. Maybe you don't have a stable hand, because a stable hand is required for the microtome, one of the experimental thing, microtome. If you don't have that one, so you should not do research on that field, or you should get help. Let's not say in this way you should not do research. Let's say you should take help, ask for help to do that part for you, if you are really afraid. So you need to know your limitations and weakness. Then there are many other tools like Zotero, LaTeX, Git plotting, Git, and then plotting and all those things. And ethics, this is very important, like the integrity, then citation management and all those things, and honesty in research. That is very, very important, because your supervisor is not possible. It's not possible for your supervisor to see the validations of your experiment. So one thing I have learned from my PhD, and that in Denmark, or actually in living in a Danish country, in Denmark, that trust is already given to you. They trust everyone blindly until you break the trust. So whatever data, whatever you are saying, they will basically believe it. But yes, there are many incident happens, manipulation of data from the lab and all those things. So you should really be very honest in reporting your experimental results honestly, because maybe no one is noticing this one right now. Maybe after 20 or 30 years, they have a very simple equipment to test that property, and your paper might be retracted due to the falsifications or false informations. So you have to be really very, very careful regarding reporting the data for a scientific journal. Now, let me share some of the traps. So is it possible to boil an ocean? Can you warm the water of an ocean? Is it possible?
Yes, sir.
Are you with me, guys? So let's say, is it possible to boil the ocean?
No, sir.
No. No, it's not possible. So like that, it's not possible to boil the ocean. So it's also not possible to try all the problems by yourself. So what you have to do, you have to shrink your scope. But you can boil a a pot of water, right? 5 liters, let's say 10 liters. You can. So you actually need to narrow down your scope. So at first we actually overwhelmed about, okay, I will be doing research and all those things. So you want to boil the whole ocean. So it's not possible. Be realistic. And then sometimes we keep reading and keep reading and keep reading, just reading, but not acting anything. That's not also possible. Okay, that's also a trap. These are the trap. I think you might find those who are in third year or fourth year, or maybe in your higher studies graduate program, maybe you'll find in one of these situations, chasing for the perfect data. Really, we always want the best result, right? But this is not the case all the time. No data set is perfect. Be honest about your limitations. So there is nothing called a perfect data set. Okay. Then another big trap that we are too shy. We're too shy to ask for help, working in isolation. You always will remember 1 plus 1 is equals to 3. When it will happen? When we will work as a team. Okay, if you are working alone, then you are just one. If you are working with another one, let's say, then there will be a compounding effect. Okay, so you really want to work as a team. You cannot really go that far alone. So, especially in research, you really need to have a team. Okay, so you really need to ask for help early and talk to your mentors, talk to a fellow researcher in your fields. And we have this, anxiety about the failure. What will happen if we fail? What will happen if the result data is not good? My supervisor would not be happy if I have these bad results. But no, don't think in this way. Can you actually point some of the traps among yourself, or would you like to add something more here?
Sir, I would like to add something. I think a lot of times people, something I've faced in my life is that like, I know there's a point called working in isolation and not asking for help early, but I had difficulty like finding teammates. So I think that's, if that's a trap, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes it's hard to find a right teammates. Yeah, especially in your undergrad life, and finding a like-minded people is also sometimes challenging. But for the success of your research, although it's a little challenging task, you need to find it anyway. Even if it is not here, maybe you can, for networking is a very good thing, and that can really help you to achieve your dream or go beyond your imaginations. That is networking, and there are many ways of networking. I can talk maybe some other time. But the problem you address is, I think it's real, the working in isolations, although probably even if you, but I guess although you will not get 5 or 10, but I guess at least 1 or 2 is it's possible to find. I hope you will agree, right, Mushfirat?
Yes, sir. At the end, I did find like-minded people, alhamdulillah, but it was very difficult.
Yeah.
I guess that's a trap.
Yeah. Yeah, great. So, and also always remember that your first paper will not change the world, and that's okay. Okay. Your first paper might not change the world, but the goal is to learn, contribute honestly, and keep going. So that is the goal. So your one paper cannot change the world overnight. So your goal needs to be realistic, measurable, and honest. Be honest. So these are the 5 traps. Where to start? Actually, I would say in IoT, from the theory courses, research perspective, a little difficult. But for the capstone project, you start to solve some problem, although it's a not novel one, but at least when you solve difficulties, you need to find out the literatures. That's a good way to start. You can go to the faculties, ask the professor that what's the ongoing project. Maybe if you are a first year student, you can go to your supervisor and, sir, what's the project you are doing at the moment? Do you think I can join your or see some of your project with the 40 student? Know your seniors who are working with on what, and then the student bodies like ASME. I have seen you guys are organizing many workshops. So basically, try to attend this kind of workshop. There are a lot of competitions like poster presentations, abstract submissions. Try to attend those, and then network with those peers. Then basically there are a lot of robotics, hackathon, in IoT we have a lot of fest. That's also a good starting point. Undergraduate journals. In undergraduate, basically you can try to publish a review paper and early findings as a student. I'll discuss about this one, how you can do it later on, but review paper could be a good starting point. Then try to basically publish your results in preprints, open data sets, or GitHub, so that people, what I mean by here, like you need to increase your online visibilities. So it's a 6 months plan that you pick a theme, read broadly, draft a rough plan that what you are gonna do. Then let's say you have now some idea that this is the way I want to go in the first month. It will take time because you are not, I would say, you are occupied with many other things. So in first month, let's say you have a research directions. In second month, you approach to a mentor, narrow down your research questions. Third month, then on that research field, what are the software, what are the lab techniques, what are the methods you need to learn? You are focusing on that one. Maybe now you know the software techniques, lab methods. Now you are generating the data, so you need to find out how you can analyze the data, collect the data, and then on month 6, probably you will be ready, to write your first paper. This is just approximations. This will vary from person to person and topics to topics. 2 seconds, I have a call to attend. Okay, so I think I'm lagging behind. I thought it's not gonna take that much, but it's really taking a lot. Okay, so now you have everything. So research is not done until you share. So if you have all your thoughts, if you have everything on your head, if you are not reporting your results, then it's nothing. So you have to write, you have to present, you have to write, you have to publish and build a profile. And after building a profile, you can publish or share your things on ORCID, then Google Scholar, ResearchGate, LinkedIn, GitHub, and all the research platforms. Okay, so that's very important. Oh, okay. Now there are a lot of different types of papers. Original research article, by the name, I think you understand. It's your own new experiments and data, and it follows the IMRAD standard. Then we have review article. Review article is not original work. It's a synthesis of already published paper. So no new experiments is needed for this one. So even if you are not doing any experiment, you can write a review paper. You can gather a lot of paper on a similar topics, and then you can synthesize the data and report all the research that has been done, let's say, for the past 5 years. So many people like this one. So if they read that paper, they will have an idea about all these 5 years paper. I think this is not interesting. Let me move ahead with the next slides. I'm talking for a long time. It's also difficult to hold your attention for long, but I will go a little fast on the main thing. Actually, in the beginning, I said like writing a review paper is, you can think it as like equations or some of the answer of some of the questions. Let's see how that says. Like this is the anatomy of a research articles. What do we see in the in articles? At first, we see the title. We see there is an introduction part. We see there is a methods. We see results, discussions, conclusions, and there is reference in the end. Do you see anything else in an article? I think no. So think it as a hourglass. I think you are familiar with the hourglass. In hourglass, you think about your research article. At first, you will be starting with a very broad context, what others has done, and then you narrow it down to your study, like you are focusing on that one. And then you try to explain in the result and discussion, what is the broader impact of the research that you have done. So if you can remember this one, it will actually answer many of your questions. Think about it. You have a broader context that what other researcher has done. Then you are narrowing it down to your research area, and then you are telling what's the impact in the research field that you have done, what you have done. And think the abstract and the title, it's like a shop window. So when we go for shopping, at first we look through the shop window. If something catchy, something, the thing that we want, we see, then actually we go into the shop, right? So title and abstract is think about your shop window. So if someone is looking for something, if they like the title, then they will read rest of the paper. And in the introductions, what you have a very broad context. Then you mention about the gap, and then you say, what is your aim? So if you can understand what every section has a purpose and what are those purpose, then it will be very easier for you to write a review paper or to write an original research article. Then in the methods, it's a very structured writing. In the methods, you will exactly write what you did, and it should be reproducible. Then in the results, so results and discussion, these two are two different things. So in the results, you will just write what you found, facts only. You will not mention that what's the impact or what does it mean or how it will compare. So in the discussion part, you will mention about the impact of your result, what it means and how it actually compares with the others literature. In the discussion part, you will be talking about this one. And in the end, this is the conclusions. In the conclusion, there will be a very niche or very particular message, one single message. And what's next? You need to give some forward-looking outlook, okay, in the conclusions. So I think it's very clear that it's very structured writing. And there is no way you can mix up one section with another. You really need to understand which section should contain what informations. This is very, very important. And this is actually called the IMRAD, that is introduction, IMRAD methods for writing original paper, that is introduction, methods, results and discussions, and then in the end, the conclusion thing. Do you have any question here? doesn't seem like the case. Okay. So I'm going a little faster. So title and keywords. So here actually you should include, does it state your key results or variable, not just the or just the broad topics. Ask yourself while you will be writing titles and keywords for your paper. Would it appear when someone search my keyword? So you need to fix your title in such a way that if someone is searching, that keyword need to be there. Is it specific and honest? With no hype or jargon. So do not use any jargon words in the titles. Did I pick the keywords that the reader will try to find? So these are the things you need to keep in mind. And what is the rule of thumb? Rule of thumb is your title need to be around 10 or 15 words maximum, not more than that. Your title should not be a paragraph. It should be maximum 10 to 15 words plus 4 to 6 keyword. That's the requirement from the journal. This is the section 1. For the section 2, there is abstract. Abstract is also, it's a very structured section. So does it cover the problem? What is the method you have used? What is the key results? What is the main takeaway? Can someone understand it without reading the full paper? Did I include my single most important finding? Am I within the journal's word limit? If you can answer these questions, your abstract is done. What problem you are covering? What method you are using? What is your key results with numbers? What is the main takeaway? Can someone understand it without reading the full paper? So if I do you remember that in the beginning I said I will read the abstract first. If I like the abstract, I'll go to the figures. If I like the figures, I'll go to the conclusions. If I like the conclusion, then I'll go for the introduction. Okay? So the abstract is a very important thing, and this is the part you need to write in the last. You always need to start with your result and discussion section. If you are working on an original research article, you need to always start with the result and discussion section, because that is the thing you are most expert in. This is your work, you will know the best. Okay? And usually abstract has a word limit around 200 words. Okay, rule of thumb 150 to 250 words, and you don't have to use any citations here. This is the abstract section. For the introduction, this is also a very structured section. At first here, what is the big picture of the problem? That means what others have done, what other has done, and why should anyone care? That means regarding the bigger picture of the problem, why we should care about it. Then you also need to mention what is already known and what is missing. That means the gap. And what exactly did I do to fill that gap? Then you will mention that this is what I have done, this is the gap, and this is what I have done to fill the gap. And then does it end with a clear aim, objective, and hypothesis? In the end, you will basically mention about this one. Okay. So this is the funnel from the broad context that you exact aim. So is it clear? So you need to have a bigger picture of your problem. You find the gap, then how you fill the gap, and some clear aims and objectives in the last paragraph. This is all about the introduction section. Acha, can you please talk? Is it helpful? তোমরা কি মোটামুটি কিছু বুঝতে পারতেছো এটা এখান থেকে what I'm talking? আমার just আসলে স্ক্রিনের সামনে কথা বলতে একটু awkward লাগতেছে, because it seems like I'm talking with the screen, So if you can respond.
Yes, sir. We're fully understanding. We're all trying to listen to, we're all trying to take notes, actually, that what you're saying, because we really want to follow you. That's why we're taking notes, actually.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay. So introduction section, this is the thing you need to include. If I don't find these things in the introduction, then as a researcher, now you are a researcher, maybe in your early career, probably will not get any invitation to review others' others' research. But after a while, after publishing couple of paper, you will start reviewing other paper. So these are the things you need to look at. Whether this information is available in the paper. If you don't have this information, then you are going to reject that paper. Then methods. This is a very structured section. You cannot really actually, it cannot go wrong. You can actually start with the method section as well, because you know what are the experiment you have used, what are the material you have used, what are the equipment you have used, what are the settings of the equipment that you have used, what was your sample size. Then did I explain how I analyze the data? Let's say you have used some software. Let's say you have used ImageJ software to analyze the particle size. Let's say you have used MATLAB to analyze the data. You need to include this one in the method sections. Have I kept all interpretation out of these sections and never include any interpretations, that means of your result and discussion in these sections. In this section, you will just include what are the materials you have used, what are the equipment you have used, settings, some experimental, there are a lot of ASME standard, ISO standard. So which standard you have followed, these are the things you should write in the method section. Okay. This is, you can see, this is the recipe. Enough detail that another researcher could repeat your work and get the same result. So your method section need to be that detailed that even any researcher in the world, they can replicate the whole experiment, okay, after doing this one. So if you are able to do that, then your paper will be a very good one. And don't mix it with results, okay? Don't mix methods with the result. Results are completely different thing. Now in the results, after method, you will be talking about the results. Have I started? Stated in words what each figures or table shows? So in scientific paper, you have many figures and tables. You need to make sure whatever figures and tables you have detailed descriptions about each of them. Am I reporting objectively without interpreting yet? So you need to actually objectively report it. Don't interpret about the results in this section. You just interpret, that this is the result, what you got. About the interpretations, you have the discussion part. Many times you will find that result and discussion section is on the same paragraph. In that case, you can. But if you have a result and discussion, two different parts, then in the result, you just mention the values. In the discussions, you explain the impact of that values. Is it clear? There is a difference. Okay. So did I highlight the key finding, not dump every numbers? So maybe you have generated 100 data points, but do you really need to include all the 100 data points? Absolutely no. You need to include the relevant points or relevant data to explain your results. And you need to think about your figures. Is it clear? Is it well labeled? If you need to print it in A4 size paper and see the readability of that figures, whether a person after printing it in a A4 size paper, is it completely readable? You need to think about that one. And rule of thumb, you report the result, but don't explain. Let data speak. Where? In the discussion section. Okay? So the fact you find presented clearly with figures and tables, yeah, I think this is the result section and the discussion sections. So in the discussion section, you will explain what your result means. You mention about a value, what does it mean? Do they answer your questions? In the introduction section, you have promised something, right? You have promised something that this is the research gap I am filling. So I will try to see in the discussion section how you are feeling that one. Okay? In the discussion section, I will try to find the answer how you are feeling that one. Okay? If I don't find the answer, I'm going to reject this one. So how do they compare with the previous studies? In the discussion section, you really need to compare with the previous studies that, let's say, Ehsan et al. Have done these studies and found this, and we found this in our literature, which is a new addition to the scientific literature domain. Okay? So in this way, you need to do critiques or add new results in your discussion sections. But this is not for you will not compare your results in the result section. You will need to compare this one in the discussion section. But if you are mixing result and discussion on the same paragraph, in that case, you can do it. What are the honest limitations of your work? So you need to be honest that all work have some limitations. If you mention about those limitations, as a reader, when I will be reading about your limitations, I will try to understand this author mentioned this one as a limitation. Can I take it as a research gap, and can I really overcome these limitations? Then you have some food for thought, right? Then you also need to mention what is the wider impact. Do you remember the hourglass? You start with the broad context, then you are narrowing it down. Then, do you remember? You are again widening up the broader impact. This is very, very logically connected. Are you guys getting it? It's very, very logically connected. All the sections, the abstract, the introductions, the methods, the results, the discussions. These are very, very logically connected. So that's why I say writing original research is very easy. Once you have your own data, it's a structured writing. So if you just follow the structure, you can write the paper very easily. Okay? So you need to mention about the wider impact and what comes next. Moving forward, now the conclusion part. In the conclusions, yes, now it's almost time to drop your mic. That means you talk a lot. You talk about everything. So now be brief. What is the single most important takeaway? You discuss about a lot of results, but what is the most significant results that you are talking about? It should be in the conclusions. Did I answer that I claim in my introductions? There is a section in the introductions that you said you are trying to fill in this research gap or this research question. Did you really fulfill that one? So you should really clarify in the conclusion. Have I stated the contributions and the future directions? You can also include this one, or there is a section called future directions. You can also write it there. Is it free of any new results or new claims? Okay. So this is also you need to. So you actually need to start with a very few sharp sentences, and be very careful. Do not write any new data in the conclusion. Do not write any new data on the conclusions. Okay? It should follow your result and discussion section. No new results or no new data. So that's the end of conclusions. And now reference and citations. This basically, there are tools for this one. There is Zotero, there is Mendeley. You really need to learn how to cite paper with the help of this referencing tool. Okay, this is very, very important. And you need to think about the plagiarism, citation padding, and mismatched references. These with the advent. Previously, we don't really have to think about this one because all our citations was generated from Mendeley with the original references. But nowadays, people has many ways to find the paper and do the referencing. So now there is a chance if you are using some AI tools, they many times I would say, I think now it's a little improved, but it's really make mistakes. So never use any AI tools for your referencing. You need to do it manually. So referencing and citation, this is the things. I think it's more than an hour. Mushfirat, if you allow, then maybe we can narrow down our today's session. I would really like to dissect one of the Q1 paper, what we have just talked about, but maybe our audience are also bored about the time, or do you want me to continue?
Oh, sir, well, the audience isn't bored. We're really interested in all of your work because I think you're one of the faces of whenever we want to do something on research, you're one of the faces there. And we're really interested. But yes, there is a bit of a time lag. I think we really are short on time. Some of us had some questions. So if you can allow your time and if the audience is okay with it, we can dissect the real Q1 paper and move on with the questions. And if there is some sort of time lag, then I guess we can move on with the questions.
Yeah, so let's make a dialogue with the audience. Do you want me to dissect the paper or you want the Q&A? Please speak, the audience.
Sir, please dissect the paper.
Okay, anyone else?
Yes, please. Dissecting the paper.
All right. So do you have the paper with you? Oh, but it's not necessary, but let's see. Yeah, I'm telling.
If you could give us a PDF of the paper, we would really love it.
I send a link in the chat, but it's open access paper, so you can download easily. So
okay, sir, thank you.
In the chat, actually, I can't attach PDF, or can I? Let me see. I think no, I cannot attach any PDF here.
Okay, sir, it's fine. It's fine. I will manage somehow.
All right. So let's dissect Q1 paper here. So this is my own paper. I wrote it during my master's in IUT. So at that time, it's a experimental work. So you see the title, experimental investigation. So will you look any numerical simulation here? Is there any jargon? No. So it's clearly saying that experimental investigation. So the reader will understand it's experimental work. Of what? Of mechanical and water absorption properties. Mechanical properties, it's a broad word, right? Broad word, that means there are many mechanical properties. For example, tensile strength, impact strength, interlaminar shear strength, and many other things. But since I have written mechanical properties, so the reader should expect more than one properties. And water absorption property. Since water absorption is not a mechanical property, so that's why the water absorption is there. On fiber stacking sequence and orientation. So how they have done it? We have done it, fiber stacking sequence. That means the stacking sequence was different. And the orientation is also different. Not only the stacking sequence, the orientation, that means the angle of the fiber, that was also different. Of what? Jute and carbon. Jute and carbon epoxy hybrid composites. Even if you want, it's difficult to, narrow down the title. How many what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yes, if you remove off and these are the thing, then around 15 watts, 10 to 15 watts. Okay. So is there any ambiguity in the title? Are you finding any? Be open. Okay. Seems like this is not the case. So do you remember that each section has a question? Let's go through title and keyword. Will the right reader find these and know what it's about? So, আমার title এবং keyword দেখে Can you expect something that you are going to see these things? So this you need to ensure. In the abstract, can you answer this question? What did I do? How did I do it? What did I find? And why does it matter? Can you answer these 4 questions in the abstract? If you can answer these 4 questions, if you just answer these 4 questions and then your abstract is done. In the introduction, why this problem? What is missing? And what will I do about it? So you remember the broader perspective, then you narrow it down, this is missing, then you mention how you are filling the gap. Now methods, this is the most easiest section. There is nothing to invent here. So how exactly did I do it? Can someone reproduce it? About the reproducibility of your thing. Now the result section, what did you find? That means what did you find? Facts and numbers only. In the discussions, what do the result mean and how do they compare with others? And then conclusions, one message, if you remember. So you can think about in today's session, this is the main key takeaway. If you understand this particular slide, I think it's a great takeaway from today's session. That each section's what each section should cover. Okay. Now actually it will be very difficult to go through all the section, but let's try to do some of the things. The abstract. So yes, just answering these questions like what did I do? How do you? Definitely this answer should be there. But if there is some hook, then it's a very good thing, right? Why the topic matters? Just I write one line. If you see the abstract, you will find that it says that natural fiber used together with the synthetic fiber can reduce the cost of hybrid composites. So it's a hook. So what is the hook? Synthetic fibers are expensive. So if you are using natural fiber with the synthetic fiber, then actually you can reduce the cost. Okay. Then this is the hook you can say or the context. Now I'm coming, then I wrote that what you did. That means what I have done in this study, I have written that VARI was used. The VARI means vacuum assisted resin infusion process. The details is written there. VARI was used to fabricate jute, then bracket লেখা আছে, it's written 6 layers and carbon 4 layers. So how many total layers? What did you do? I have done a fabrication. What fabrications? Jute and carbon composites with 4 stacking sequence and 3 orientations. Does it actually clearly answer these questions? What I did? It clearly answers. I did vacuum assisted resin infusion process. I have used 6 layer of jute, 4 layer of carbon. I have used 4 stacking sequence and 3 orientation. It clearly answered that one. How you did it? কিভাবে করছি? সেটা তো বলছি। Or the test, the test method. কি method use করছি? What are the method I have used? I have used tensile, flexural, impact, and water absorption tests were carried out based on the ASTM standard. I have mentioned about the standard. How you do it? Then what you found? You cannot mention all the results, but your key results. So I have given a stacking sequence J3, C4, J3. That means 3 jute fiber, 4 carbon fiber, again 3 jute fiber, give the highest tensile strength. So this give the highest tensile strength, this give the highest flexural, and this give the highest impact strength. So what I have found, so it's there. So what? পাইছি এটা. That means what's the implications? পাইছি, so what? The key takeaway. So these hybrids are promising material for lightweight, load-bearing structural application. That means a structures gulo, it can be applied in lightweight, load-bearing structural applications. So is writing abstract? এখন তোমরাই বলো, can you share? If you can, is it difficult to write an abstract?
Sir, from my side, honestly, since I've participated in some conferences, I don't think it's a very difficult thing to complete the abstract. I think it's the other things, like after you get selected, after that, the things that you have to do. I think those are more difficult in comparison, but I don't think abstract is as difficult.
But abstract is the thing you write in the last. If you think abstract is not difficult, then I would not agree with you, because
No.
abstract is the most difficult thing in the paper. Because here you really need to narrow it down to the audience attention. So you need to spend most of your time on writing the abstract. And abstract is the last thing you will be writing. So it's a little bit tricky thing that you have a lot of results, but you cannot include all the results in the abstract. You need to include very specific result. Well, now you need to be a little choosy and a little tricky as well, what you will report in the abstract section. And other sections, actually, in abstract, actually, you are not inventing anything. So you have to be a little careful.
That's the reason I said, like, in comparison, like other sections are more difficult. Like in abstract, I don't have to like put the result or calculation or something. That's why.
Oh, okay. Then yeah,
Yes.
I got your point. So, dear audience, please try to keep this in your mind. Answer these questions, and your abstract is written. So, I think my abstract has all the answers. So that's why actually it was a good abstract, I would say. Then basically the funnel thing for the introductions, you need to give the broad context first, then you need to narrow it down, then you need to mention about the gap, and then on the last paragraph, you will always see that in the last paragraph of the introduction, you will find the aim and novelty of the journal articles. You can actually take notes, and you will definitely find these things on the introduction section. In the methods, actually, there is nothing to invent here. You just need to report what you have used. Like I have used jute. What was the GSM? What was the thickness? I have included this one. I have used carbon fiber. I have used this GSM thickness and also the density. What else? I have used epoxy resin and hardener. I have in what are the fabrication technique I have used? I have used very vacuum assisted resin infusion process. So I have mentioned this one. What are the characterization technique I have used? I have used tensile, flexural, and impact. What was the standard was used? So it was reported. Okay. What for the water absorption? What standard I have used? It was reported. For the analysis, what I have used? Water absorption percentage computed via the equations and plotted against the time. These are the analysis and I have used. So method is pretty straightforward. Now the result sections, you just need to probably in the result section, you really need to include just the value. As you can see, the maximum flexural strength, this one, okay, was found for these unidirectional composites. But what's the impact is not there. You will find this on the basically discussion section. Or if you are actually combining that two, then basically that also makes sense, result and discussion sections. And in the conclusions, you actually write one single sentence or that basically condense all the main findings of your research, and then some futures perspectives and contributions that what you have promised in the introductions, whether you have fulfilled this one. You mentioned a little bit about that you have what you have promised in the introductions, you have already filled the gap, and that's it. So আমি actually আরেকটু details explain করতে পারলে ভালো লাগতো, but I think time is short. Maybe let's narrow it down for today. Maybe in some other session, if it is needed, I can discuss. So yeah, from week 2 publishables, I think let's keep this one. Yeah, and some of the key takeaway. You need to be curious, and curiosity beats talents. Or actually, there is a proverb that hard work beat talents when talent doesn't work hard. Okay, so if you are a hardworking person, yeah, if you don't have a talent, that's fine. If you have a talent and if you don't work hard, then definitely you will be lagging behind. So read to find a gap, then ask one sharp question. Find a mentor, be a reliable and coachable mentee, right? So it's a mutual benefit for both of you. You don't think that you just need a mentor. Actually, your mentor also need mentee, because your mentor also cannot go a long way alone. Your mentor also need a student like you. So it's a mutual. The benefit should be mutual. If you are just using the resources from your mentor and you are not adding value, that's not a good thing. And it goes the same way. Your mentor is just giving order without any direction. That's also not good. Okay, start small. Your aim should be small in the beginning, and then you grow with the time being. And failure is also a data. Don't be disappointed if the result is not good. Iterate, share, and keep going. I think I talked a lot. I'll stop my presentations here, and I'll open for the Q&A session. So please unmute yourself or drop your questions in the chat box.
Sir, we already had some comments from the registration form. Would you like to hear those?
Yeah.
Okay, so sir, one of the questions from one of our recent graduates was like, sir, many of us do not get the chance to do their thesis and their favorite research topic due to many reasons. How difficult it is, or what's it like to switch from one field to another field after graduation, as you yourself have shifted to material engineering recently?
That's a practical question in terms of IoT situation, right? Okay, but let me put it in this way. Let's say I think it's really difficult that, let's say, you want to do a research, for example, in heat transfer and fluid mechanics in this field. I think I think you will definitely find one of the supervisor available. We have like 4 or 5 professors working on this field. Maybe if you are not getting the one that you want, but probably you will get at least one who is doing research on them. Now, the thing is that, let me put it in this way. In undergrad, getting your desired supervisor is not challenging just in here in IoT. It's actually challenging in worldwide. For masters, it's possible because the very few people do research for the masters. But for undergrad, we have a lot of undergraduate students, and it's difficult for the department to entertain everyone's need. Okay, but let's say probably there was another question. You are doing research in one field and how you can move forward in other field. Actually, I could be a very practical example for that one. When I was in my 4th year, my undergrad research topic, you will be very surprised. I was working on, power consumptions of refrigerant, different type of refrigerant in a refrigerator. So there was a refrigerator that was inbuilt in IoT. What I was doing, I changed the refrigerant. I was using R134. I was using LPG and trying to see that what are the power consumptions by changing the refrigerant. So this was my topic for my undergrad. I didn't like that much. Then in the master's, actually, my research interest started, or the curiosity started, when I was working. If you remember that I was working in BAWEST, Bangladesh Army University of Science and Technology. There, actually, I met one of my colleagues. His name is Dr. Saiful Islam. He's not in Bangladesh anymore. He's in US. So he was working, he did his PhD from Japan and worked on composite. So I was sitting in front, we are sitting face to face in the same office, sharing the same office. Then we talk about the research. He told me about composite. He did this and that. Then the curiosity started. Okay, so that's a nice topics. Can I do something similar like this? Can you help me to get some good research question on this field that we can work together? You see the mentor. I found a mentor. So that was the curiosity started to grow on the material science field. Then, I changed my job from there to IUT, and also I left my master's from Ruet, and then I, started my master's in IUT. That's why you could see that I finished my undergrad in 2015, but I finished my master's in 2020. So there is a 5 years gap. So it's not like I took 5 years to finish the master's. It's due to the transitions in different jobs and also, finishing my, master's in 2 different universities, you can say. So this was the reason. So answering your questions, it's about your curiosity. Then in IUT, when I did my master's, there was no supervisor or there was no one to supervise me, at least doing research. So I approached Dr. Hasan Habib sir, I want to do research on this one. Hasan Habib sir was very supportive that, okay, no problem, you can do, it's a nice field, you can do, but we have very limited resources, I'm telling you. So you need to acknowledge that one. No, sir, okay, sir, we will manage. Then actually I took the challenge. I tried to find the right equipment. I spent around 2 months to get the vacuum pump. Probably you will see it in IUT. In front of the CAD lab, there is a chem lab. You can see the vacuum pump is there. So that's the first time I used this one. I bought this one from the Easy Composite UK and bring it in Bangladesh for my master's project. So you see, it's not impossible. And then I keep doing research on the same field in my PhD as well. So it's not completely impossible to shift your research track, but you have to have a very good reason for it, and you have to have a good curiosity about it. Does it make sense? Mushfirat, back to you. Does it answer the question?
Yes, sir. I think the one who made the question, he's actually present here. So I think it answers the question. Sir, there was a next question that how can a first-year student start to develop himself as a complete research-oriented person in a 4-year timeline?
Yeah, you follow today's presentations. You start reading papers, then find out your niche or your interest, which fields actually excites you. Because, if you really don't like the topics, you will feel bored to invest more time on the topic. But if you really like the topic, then you will not really feel bored, to read, to do further investigation on the topics. I think this happens on your theory courses as well. You have 6 courses in each semester. Do you really like all the course equally? I think no, right? The one that you like, definitely there is a particular reasons. Either you understand that course very well, either you love that course, maybe the lectures is interesting. So in the same way, this is also, the domain is really vast. It's a big oceans out there. So you need to really focus on your research area and interest, where you actually want to focus, where you want to put your energy, which directions. So since you said it's for first year, I think it's very good time to do experiment. Let's say you are reading papers on heat transfer or fluid mechanics or material science domain. You can explore. Read it, which one excites you, try to go on that directions. So first year is a good time, the best time I would say. to start doing research so that you don't have to take the decisions in fourth year. I want to go, sir, on fluid mechanics. I want to go on material science, so that you don't have to take the decision on fourth year. Okay? So read a lot. Read a lot of scientific paper to know your research interest, and then you follow the other questions, how to write a papers. I think writing a scientific paper now, I think it's not difficult. You know which section should contain what. If you just follow that one, then you are good to go.
Okay, sir. Thank you for your answer.
And sorry, one more thing.
No, sir, it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, sure, sir.
One more thing. Find a good mentor on your domain. That's also important. I also mentioned this one during the presentation. Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your answer. As there are a lot of first year students here, so I think it'll be very useful for them, inshallah. And I had another question from the registration forms that as the whole world is moving towards investing more in energy sector, especially in countries like the USA and France in the recent times, what other research topics stand a chance in getting funding for MSc or PhD?
That's a question. Actually, the world is basically going really very fast in terms of research directions, and also in terms of, what do I say, in terms of innovations, in terms of new innovations. And I think with the recent advancement in AI, the data centers and all those things, that requires a lot of huge power consumptions. And our supply is really not enough to meet the energy demand. That's why actually research in this domain will be forever young, you can say. That means definitely it will be young for the next couple of decades for sure. So, and doing research on this domain, you know, there are a lot of funding on this energy sector. And these energy sectors, when I'm talking about energy sections, there are a lot of things about renewable energy, like wind energy, there are solar energy, and the solar energy is basically, let's say, all those renewable energy. To use this one, you need a power source. That means you need a battery. So the research on the battery, although we are talking about renewable energy, then we are coming to the materials again. Why? Because the materials that is used for the battery, it's a electrochemical materials. That means it's related to the material. It depends also electrochemical materials that store the energy and also release the energy when needed. So, research fields are very much interrelated. So if you have a passion to build your career in renewable energy section or energy related section, be open to make your research domain a little wider, so that maybe you'll be doing research on material science, but the applications is on the renewable energy. It might be very common. So you need to be very open and flexible about your final research domain. If you are a little flexible, then I think getting a suitable project will be much easier. But if you are very rigid, I really want to do on this particular project, then the chances will be narrow, because, who knows? Maybe there is just one funding on that one and someone else got that positions. So be a little flexible. Shreya, back to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Next, we have a question in the comments. When starting research, how do we distinguish between a genuinely novel research gap and a problem that has simply been overlooked because it is not important?
that's I would say the most important skill that you need to learn as a researcher. But I would say this skill will not come overnight. Who asked the questions? I think it's Tanvir Asan. It's a very good question, I would say. Thanks for the question. Finding the research gap, you cannot be expert in finding the research gap. Even very expert researcher is still learning this, or it's a never ending process. You will just be good at it by doing it again and again. So it's a continuous continuous process. Okay, so even I am still learning that how I can really find a research gap from out of the research paper. And mostly to find these answers, you really need to read the introduction sections and also the conclusion sections to find the research gap in the existing literatures. And definitely you need to look from the recent publications, okay? Not from the publication that from 1950s or early centuries to 200 centuries, something like this. So you need to look into the recent papers to find recent research problems. Okay, I hope that answers your questions. And read. You have to really read lot of scientific papers.
Okay, thank you, sir, for your answer. Sorry, I was momentarily disconnected. I think that puts an end to questions from our end. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to make a question now?
Thank you, Tanvir Hasan, for joining. And yeah, you are from OST. Yeah, I visited OST, I think, a couple of months ago as a judge for a poster presentations and also abstract presentations there. I don't know we met there or not, but thanks for joining to the session.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I have another question. So can I ask?
Yeah, sure, please.
Sir, it's like about priority. So, sir, as an undergrad student, I think our time is very limited. I feel so. So, sir, if I say, what should be your priority? Learning theoretical foundation, or having a theoretical foundation, or doing research, or what will be the balance, actually, sir?
You know, it's a very, I would say, self-centered questions. Like we have, let's say, 50 graduates. All of them will not go for PhD. All of them will not go for masters. All have their own priorities, and it's you who will decide which directions you need to go. Like on my first year when I started my journey, some of my senior brother invited me, for the introduction with them, and they asked me, brother, what do you want to be after your graduations? I told them I want to be a faculty. So I had a goal. So I know if I want to be a faculty, then I have to maintain a very high CGPA. I need to do research. I need to publish journals. So I know my goals and I act accordingly. So probably you also have your priority that you want to go for higher studies. If you really want to go for higher studies, then definitely you need to find, it's a global competition. It's not local anymore. So you need to compete with the graduates from IIT. You need to compete with the graduates from a university, Wuhan University, for example, in China, from other university, other part of the world. So that will be global competition. So you need to prepare your profile accordingly. Now, let's say you cannot expect, actually, let's put it in this way, you cannot expect a mango from a jackfruit tree. So you will get mango in a mango tree. So if you are taking preparations for higher studies, you cannot expect that you will be a government officer, because your preparation is not like that one. You also need to, choose your, end goal, where you want to see yourself. So that actually matters. If you can fix your goal, then you need to act accordingly. Let's say if you want to be a government officer, then you really don't need to do research. Then you have to, that syllabus. What are the syllabus for the government jobs? So you need to read that one. I never had a dream of being a government officer, so I never appeared any exam. So that's the priority questions, or that's you who will decide. And I think thinking about many directions at the same time, it's a mistake. Let's say you have a dream of being a government officer, and also you have a dream of getting a PhD, full funded PhD in one of the Ivy League university. These two are very contradictory requirement. It's very difficult to fulfill both of them, to be honest. So your ambitions should be realistic. That's what I would say.
Yes, sir. I understand. Thank you for answering my question.
Mushfirat, Fariha, anything else?
I don't think so, sir. I don't think there are any more comments or there are any more questions. Are there anyone from the audience who want a question? I'm guessing not.
I think
Yes, sir?
our first year IP student দেখতেছি কিছু কিছু আছে, তোমরা পড়তে
জি,
বসো,
sir.
কালকে কিন্তু ল্যাব ফাইনাল আছে। But thank you for
First year IP
joining.
students.
জি স্যার,
Yes.
Best of luck for the lab final.
Sir, ওদের জন্য একটু question easy করিয়েন।
না, কোশ্চেন ইজি করছি, স্ট্যান্ডার্ড করছি আর কি। অ্যাকচুয়ালি যারা ল্যাব করছে তারা সব পারবে, আই গেস,
ইনশাআল্লাহ স্যার, ইনশাআল্লাহ।
And thank you for joining.
Yes, thank you all for joining.
At least ASME থেকে তোমরা চেষ্টা করবা এই সেশনগুলো আরেকটা সেশন করার ট্রাই করবা ফর দ্য 4th ইয়ার। এখন ইটস টু লেট অ্যাকচুয়ালি। 4th ইয়ারের জন্য খুব ভালো হতো হাউ টু রাইট দেয়ার থিসিস লেখার আবার একটু ডিফারেন্ট স্টাইল আছে। সো থিসিস লেখার জন্য এটলিস্ট তোমরা তো 4th ইয়ারে হবা, তোমরা তো 4th ইয়ার এখন।
Yes sir, আমরা ইনশাআল্লাহ next year. Yes sir.
সো এইটা নিয়ে আরেকটা সেশন করার ট্রাই করবা, হাউ টু রাইট
Yes sir, of course. Inshallah sir.
Okay. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, sir. As we conclude today's session, we hope it has shown us that research is not just about discovering something new. It is about questioning what we know, solving real-world problems, and creating a better future. On behalf of the ASME IUT Student Section, I sincerely thank Dr. Muhammad Abu Shaid Sujon for sharing his valuable insights and experience with us. Thank you, sir, for inspiring us to take our curiosity one step further and begin our own journey of discovery. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we hope to see you again in our future sessions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Before we end this meeting, I would like to request everyone to please fill out the form that I have sent in the comment sections. It's the feedback form that will really help us arrange our future sessions and to know what really you want us to cover and what you want sir to cover in the next sessions. So please fill out the forms, and thank you so much. And thank you again, sirs. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Sir. Assalamu alaikum.
I could see Arjani is there. Thank you, Arjani, for joining. Some of our alumni also joined.
Yes, sir. One of our questions was actually from one of our graduating students. So.
Okay, nice.
Yes, sir.
Okay, bye-bye and good night.
Okay, thank you, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.